Guys, today is July 25th, 2022. Ibrahim. It's been a while I don't do one of these kinds of videos, but I want to do this today. It's about this whole talk about tribalism, and I want to compare this to like with racism and everything, because you cannot take tribalism away from racism. Racism is what affects us in this part of the world. The Americas, the western part of the world, right? We have a lot of good white people that are actually fighting on the side of black people to restore the dignities and freedoms of black people. People like Dr. Martin Luther King, 1964 Civil Rights Act is why people like us can come to America and be able to survive, right? Matter of fact, I do this in Creole for, I know my folks in, the embassies and everybody's watching, but let me do this in Creole because I want my brothers and sisters them understand. I'm going to share a video with you guys where, a real case of what racism looks like. Because a lot of these cops, them police officer they are, if not be a white person be inside this motor car, a paraplegic, somebody went for waka, when they're using leg. If I be inside this most kind of white person, they would not punish him and disrespect this guy. So I want to share this video with you so you guys can see the effects of racism. And that is the same thing, the effects of tribalism in Africa, where people they take tribe and put her over others. So then they look the other person for say not belong to a tribe, so it doesn't matter. So you look at what's happening today in Sierra Leone, we look at the SLPP administration, and that is why I want to say many thanks to Dr. Samora Kamara for standing out and speaking up about these things. And every leader in Sierra Leone that does not have the gumption and the gut to talk about tribalism in the face. In times like these, when we see the MDAs, ministries, departments of agencies, they're all is tribalized. You look at the names of these guys, Mendes. That is the core of the problem. It is never a crime. It was never a crime back when Dr. Martin Luther King stood up and fight for black people. It was never a crime when people like Malcolm X called out racism for what it is. It is never a crime when people like Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, all of these people in America that stood up and fight against racism. And up till today, they're still fighting against racism because people get implicit bias, and that is what is killing Africa. So let me share this video with you guys. I want you guys to see this, and I'll come back. Watch this.
Yanking him by his hair, flipping him on his stomach, and handcuffing him as he screams and shouts for help. The officers then drag Clifford Owensby to their police car.
Y'all hurt me, bro. Y'all what are y'all doing, bro? I'm a paraplegic, bro. You're making this worse. I'm a paraplegic, bro. I'm trying to tell you that I got help getting in the car. Y'all can hurt me. They can hurt me, bro. I'm hard. Damn, bro. I'm a paraplegic. Ow. You have to Somebody help. Somebody help. Something right here. Somebody help.
Clifford keeps shouting, "Somebody help." Officers also removed a 3-year-old child from the back seat of the car. Clifford Owensby was not charged with any drug-related offenses. He's now filed a complaint with the Dayton, Ohio unit of the NAACP. At a news conference Sunday, he described the assault.
They did not find any weapons, guns, or drugs. They did find my money, which they took. I don't see where I did anything wrong in this matter, and I am lost for words for what they did to me. It was totally humiliation. It was hatred at its purest fashion. I have never seen or witnessed anything in my life. If they was caught doing this on camera, I can only imagine what would have happened if the cameras weren't rolling. I feel like they kidnapped me and they was going to hold me for ransom. Everything that they did to me reminds me of what I used to watch on TV, the movie Roots. It was total slavery. I felt like they was trying to catch a slave, and they was threatening to tase me and all of that because I was crying out for help. Taser being the whip, and I keep getting whipped and whipped over and over every time I keep thinking about it. Every time I hear about somebody sharing that video, it is a constant reminder. I believe that those cops need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. It is unfair that we have cops like that out here patrolling these streets in America.
That's Clifford O.
You see that? You see that? That is racism right there. All of those guys are white. Because that guy is a black person, They're not saying foot, they walk, they walk and a cripple. A cripple, but America, of course, they make opportunity for you for drive, even though you're not cripple. Then white guy, they manhandle that young man. You see? That is racism. That is the effect of tribalism as well. All can relate to Sierra Leone like today. You go to some government office, if you need for talk to them and they tribe, you get a problem. That is the problem that we have, and that is why it's important when Dr. Samora Kamara talk about her. Now I'm going to share a small story of Dr. Martin Luther King, the man we make like today. Black people are free in America. One of the man them where he play a very important role. We make black people get so much equality. People forget good jobs. People for live in certain communities. You know, like we already live in certain communities there. If not for Dr. Martin Luther King, I don't for him for buy the kind also I get. Now Dr. Martin Luther King, now he make them possible. When I listen to this speech where he give to a small girl picking. You know, it's phenomenal. Listen to this.
My little daughter loves to ride to the airport with me. She says to me so often, Daddy, you just go over and over and over again. And so one of the ways she consoles herself in the fact that her daddy has to be away so much is to ride to the airport whenever I'm going in or coming back into town or going out of town. And she can do it if she isn't in school. And as we pass on the expressway going to the airport in Atlanta, we pass by what is known as Fun Town. Now this is an amusement center where little children go to play and where they go for recreation, something like Disneyland and something like the very fine amusement centers across the country for young people. And as we pass Fun Town so often in the car, she would look over to me and say, Daddy, I want to go to Fun Town. Well, I could always evade the question when we were going by in the automobile because we were passing by and I could jump to another subject. And I didn't want to have to tell my little daughter that she couldn't go to Fun Town because of the color of her skin. But then the other day we were at home, and like most children, she likes to look at television, and she was looking at television, and they were advertising Fun Town, and she ran downstairs and said, Daddy, you know, I've been telling you I want to go to Fun Town, and they were just talking about Fun Town on the television, and I want you to take me to Fun Town. And oh, I stood there speechless. How could I explain to a little 6-year-old girl that she couldn't go to Fun Town because she was colored? I had been speaking across the country talking about segregation and discrimination, and I thought I could answer most of the questions that came up, but I was speechless for the moment. I didn't know how to explain it. Then I said to myself, I've got to face this problem once and for all. And I took her and called over. And my wife was sitting on the other side of the table, and I took my little daughter and told her to have a seat on my knees. And she jumped up in my lap, and I looked at her and I said, Yolanda, we have a problem. I said, you know, some people don't do the right things and they are misguided. And so they have developed a system where white people go certain places and colored people go certain places. And I said they have Fun Town like that so that they don't allow colored children to go to Fun Town. And then I looked at her at that point because I didn't want her to develop a sense of bitterness. I didn't want her to grow up with a sense of hatred and bitterness in her heart. And so I had to rush on and say, but now all white people aren't like this. There are some white people right here in Atlanta who would like for you to go to Fun Town. And there are some all over the country who are right on this issue. Still there are those who have been misguided. Then I looked down into her eyes. And I said to her at that point, and I saw tears flowing from her eyes at that point, I said, Yoki, even though you can't go to Fun Town, I want you to know that you are as good as anybody who goes into Funtown. And I want you to know, Yoki, that some of us are working hard every day to get Funtown open and to get many other places open. And I say to you that in the not too distant future, Funtown and every other town will be open to all of God's children because we're going to work for it.
Well, you know, for a lot of you guys, I hope you understand the English with Dr. Martin Luther King talk. But all what he talk now, I said, Daddy, a getting 6-year-old girl picking, then 10 in the 1960s. Picture this. I said, Papa, a getting 6-year-old picking. And picking tell us, I want to go to Funtown. So I only picking and they go play. I said, Daddy, I for telling girl picking for say, we're not going to forget it because of your skin color. But that was what Dr. Martin Luther King said. And that's why he fought and he said, go do something for changing for people. That is racism. And that is how tribalism self they affect Africa. Picture how Satalamin was raped by 10 men there. Satalamin was raped in Kailahun by 10 men them, waiting because of tribalism. You know, picture how they kill people in Amakeni. But the same protest where people they protest at Kailahun and Kenema, they don't kill them. But they kill it at Amakeni. It's tribalism. Picture of my 91. Picture Tombo. All of this tribalism because these people don't come out of their region. They kill them. But everybody else that is southeast, Bo, Kenema and all of that in the protest, no effect. Tribalism. Let's call this thing out, man. Let's call this thing out. Let's call for an audit. Let's call members of parliament them. We have to hold all of them accountable. Every leader of the opposition. Anybody want contest for flag bearer at the APC. This is the time they should call out this level of tribalism that is currently going on in the country. Otherwise, they don't deserve no place in our politics. They don't deserve no place in our positions of authority. Because this is the time when they for proof say they're going to fight for Sierra Leoneans them. So finally, I'm going to leave you guys with this. If Dr. Martin Luther King did not stand up to speak up about racism in America, I don't think African Americans would have had the place in society that they have today. And that is why it's important for people to speak like this. And I make it important for Dr. Samora Kamara to point out this issue. Now don't forget, Dr. Samora Kamara married to a Mende woman, picking their way, get Mende blood and all of that stuff. But he cares. He's a leader who cares about the rest of Sierra Leoneans. This is the same man that nurtured people from the southeast, the Sajusus, the Matthew Dinges, all of these people from the Ministry of Finance. He brought them as his in-laws. Now he trained them, now he give them work, he empower them. So if anything, we all know Dr. Samar Kamara just really cares about Sierra Leone and the people of Sierra Leone and the welfare of the country, because we don't want to go where other countries, we don't go like Rwanda and all of these other places then. That is why it's very important that Dr. Samara Kamara speak up about these things, and we appreciate him very much for that. So Sierra Leoneans, them civil societies, you guys would pay for this. We're calling you guys out. You're seeing what is happening blatantly within our governments, within our institutions, and NEC, NACRA, all of these institutions have been politicized, tribalized. Statistics, Sierra Leone, all of these institutions, we have the records, we have the names. You cannot hide. We're not hide upon this way. So Salon people, when I pay attention to these things that are happening, we have to call them out, because we don't want to let everything blow. We tend to call implosion, as Comrade Gocha can say, right? We don't know implosion that we come together, and that is why we're going to continue to speak up about these things. If Dr. Martin Luther King did not speak up against racism, Malcolm X, Jesse Jackson, all of these people that spoke up against racism, it was never a crime that they spoke up against those societal issues. It has never been a crime, and also not be a crime for speak against tribalism. And they tell you point blank, anybody can hold me, Ibrahim. I want to go to any court of law, International Criminal Court, any side. Nobody can hold you because you speak up against tribalism, because you speak up against racism. It is not a crime to speak up against this. It is a crime where you push for the consequences of racism. You push for, say, Lord, go wipe up people. That is when it becomes a crime. You cannot do that. But when you speak about preventing problems, it is never a crime. Every Sierra should be bold. Every leader should be bold to speak up about this. Members of parliament, you have a responsibility. We need an ethnic audit. Go into institutions, them. Go into MDAs, departments and agencies, them. Ministries, go check every head. Come tell me I'm lying. Come tell me what I'm saying is not the fact. Then we'll take it from there. But go and check all of these ministries, them. We have to do an ethnic audit for clean Sierra Leone so that we cannot have the semblance, the perception of tribalism. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.